Good day, stuff around here from Rand Nerds.
Skazz?
Welcome to episode 207 of the Rand Nerds podcast, our Christmas special.
Yay, Christmas.
Skazz loves the Christmas special. He's always here every year for it. His favourite is Christmas podcast.
I was going to say it's my favourite Christmas special Christmas podcast, is it?
Yes, it is. It is your favourite is Christmas.
Oh.
Oh, bless. So we're here for our little 50s. It's our game talk and game of the year chat today. So, have you played ever games, Skazz? I know we discussed your mini metro last time. Anything else in the pipeline? Or?
No, I didn't get a chance to play the other games in the mini, sadly. So it's a bit hectic around Christmas.
Well, yeah.
Hey, kids are off school, and I'm like, ah!
Kids off school, how dare they? How dare they let children have time off? Well, I've been playing a game.
Have you?
I have.
Anything
I've
good?
been playing. Yes, it's pretty good. It's a game called Gloomwood, and it's early access at the moment. It literally got released. September.
Oh right.
In early access.
So proper new then.
Yeah, but it's basically a not so much a homage, but definitely heavily inspired by the Thief series of games.
Oh, okay. Right up your alley then.
Right up my alley. So it is clear the people who play it love the Thief series of games. It's set in this place called Gloomwood. At the moment, there's only 3 levels in it. And you start the game, you find yourself in like this waste pit in this fishery, and you are basically some people are going to do some nasty stuff to you, but you get let out by this guy, and he says like, come to Lighthouse and find me, and you then have to basically sneak your way through the levels and get to the lighthouse. At the moment, there's only 3 levels in the game. It would take you about 4 hours to get there. That's what it took me to get to that stage.
That's pretty good for only less than a handful of levels.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good. And it's very much, I would say, Thief 2 era graphics.
Right.
So if you actually look at it and look at the sort of graphics, it's very much like Thief 2 the Metal Age, the sort of style where it's sort of fairly low poly, but enough that you can see what's going on, but enough to sort of get the idea type graphics.
Well, let the brain fill in the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a soft spot for that style of graphics because that's sort of what I grew up with.
Yeah.
That's all. When I saw really sort of put it on to games.
I like that kind of stuff because much like D&D, you have to get the imagination going to say what.
Yeah.
You've got the rough idea of what something is.
Yeah.
But in your head, you always remember it with more detail than you actually saw it. Your
Exactly,
brain does some wonderful things to fill in gaps.
Yes.
In low poly games.
Exactly. Yes, it does, and they clearly have lent into it as a style. They've literally sort of like lent in, gone right. Okay, we're going to go for this style because there's no reason it has to be that low. They could make it easy, a lot higher poly than it is, but they've gone no. We're going to make it that style, Thief style. You have a pickup right at the start. You pick up a ring. The ring is your light gem, and works just like the Thief light gem. So you wear on your ring rather than being on the U. So there's no UI.
You see it on the character.
Yeah, your character wears it on his finger.
I like that.
So that works really well. But it's a bit more. Whereas Thief was like you had lots of like non-lethal options and so forth, and about sneaking around, really not sort of hurting people. Because Gout didn't like hurting people. This is a bit more. You basically all your options are lethal. So your first you pick up is a sword cane, which you can backstab people with. There's no non-lethal option at the moment to do it, so it's a little bit more like aggressive because you're not a thief sneaking around to steal stuff. You are somebody who's just trying to get out, who's trying to trapped in this weird little village and is trying to get out. It's sort of Victorian era city. It's makes you think very Call of Cthulhu-esque. Sort of like that sort of style, like sort of like random, yeah, sort of like there's obviously some sort of cult going on. There's very little story at the moment in it. There's a little bit said, but generally there's virtually not much story in it at the moment. It's like some sort of like what I call like local flavour, but there's overarching story. There's nothing really in there at the moment. So why you're there, what's going on? There is no answer yet. But it plays just like Thief. Another little neat thing is your inventory. You have a suitcase. And you literally open up the suitcase, and that's your way you can like then drag. It's a grid-based inventory in the suitcase. You can move stuff around.
Yeah.
And you can like, and also if you're near something, you can like, literally sort of like click your mouse outside the sort of suitcase where you pick up and drag it and put it into the suitcase.
That's neat.
And yeah, and vice versa, you can drag stuff out of the suitcase and put it into the into the environment.
Question: does this obscure your view when you do it?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And if there's not enough space for you to do it, he won't open up. So you have to have space to put the suitcase down.
Good.
Yeah.
No, I love little bits like that. I love little bits like that.
They basically said they wanted to create an immersive game style. They wanted it basically to feel immersive. They wanted it to be like lots of systems put into place that generate gameplay. And I love immersive games. I love those sort of like, particularly when you can interact in unusual ways. So doing things like, oh, there's two guys there, but there's a nice explosive barrel near me, and grabbing the explosive barrel and very cleverly sneak it behind them, putting the explosive barrel between them, walking away and shooting it with a revolver. That's great fun. That's great fun. And yeah, it is just, it scratched that itch of a Thief game. It literally made me feel like I was playing a Thief game again. I always used to play a Thief game around Christmas. It was almost a Christmas tradition. I've always got memories of playing Thief games on Christmas, and this scratches that itch right away. It was just like going back in time, really, and it's like really cool and fun. I mean, it's early access at the moment. There's still stuff it needs to do, but to be honest, the basics are there.
They're using early access properly rather than just releasing like because have you noticed that like they tend to release a lot of companies tend to release like full but incredibly buggy games in early access, or like, hey, here's an entire world, like an entire world, not even like a curated section of, and then they just
there's like, this is basically the opposite. It's like, okay, we've got the mechanics functioning that we want to function. Now the mechanics actually function. Now we just need to add content.
Sure.
And that's basically what you're paid for. They are basically now got to make more maps, more content. And I get a feeling it's going to be more open world because you can sort of walk back. So that's what I should like to say is it's a very linear path you take at the moment. And I hope that it'll be more open. But there are points where you can go back. So like the first bit, you're in like this fishery. After you get out of the fishery, and again, because they're so low poly, the levels can be quite big. I mean, they're not as huge as Thief levels yet, but they can be pretty big.
What are the controls like, actually, just quickly? Is it keyboard and mouse centric, keyboard like big mouse, inventory, or?
I think you can use a controller with it, but it's keyboard and mouse, obviously what I used.
I was just curious because, like, if it would run on Steam Deck.
Yes, I think it's Steam Deck compatible.
Fantastic.
I think. Let me look. I'm on the Steam page at the moment because that says Steam Deck compatible, doesn't it, on it?
Yeah.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say it's Steam Deck compatible, but I would have thought it would run no problem.
Sure.
I would have thought so. It looks like potato, so it will run on anything really. But it's very neat, so they can do the nice big open levels, and it's like bits where you like the first level you go down, you'll get into like after you get the fishery, there's like a couple of houses. One's got a basement. There's a locked door in that basement. When you then get up and go through the mines and come to the other end, you can find the other side of that door and open up, so you have to go through the mines again, which is neat. Sure. It is, yeah. It is. If you love the Thief games, you're gonna love Gloomwood. It's got that little bit of stress to it. You can only save at there's like these little gramophones. They're the only place you can save.
So you can't save scum it.
No, and some cases they are quite far apart from each other. So you have to really sort of like be careful because you can, if you die, it's like, I mean, I did rage quit it once because I died. And I was so close to, like, I could hear another gramophone nearby, so I knew I was close to it, and I got killed. I had to go, I went back to start the level.
Sure.
I
will say that save scumming and checkpoints, we've been spoilt in recent history in that how frequent checkpoints are. And so when you play a game that spaces things out a bit, it can get really frustrating really quickly because sometimes it can feel really, really cheap.
Yes, it can. Yeah, it can feel it's a bit stressful. Having said that, the one where I died, because I thought basically it was like I was upstairs. There's like a little chute outside this mine. Once you got the chute, you couldn't get back up. I thought, oh, I'm fucked then because I can't get back up to, get back to the save point. I then realised I was being a clop because why is that the very first room are two boxes that I could pick up and literally build a little set of stairs.
Sure.
So I could then go back in. It's like, oh yeah, I'll be a bit of an idiot there. But yeah,
I do love stuff like that because sometimes you do feel really, really stupid when your brain just goes, "Hang on a minute. If I think I can do this in real life, there's a potential I can do it in this kind of game. But because so many games have taught you these days that you can only do what they allow you to do, it's very cookie cutter in what you can do. The idea of going back to an immersive sim is really kind of mind breaking."
It is, yeah. And I love immersive sims. They are probably if you class them as a genre, they're probably my favourite genre of games.
Stuff like Thief and Prey and Dishonored and Deus Ex and
yes. It's something that there's very much a move away from them into the craft experiences, but most of them are just so cool.
I remember when you were telling me about all the different ways you were going through Dishonored, and do you know what's really stupid? I'd never actually clicked Dishonored as an immersive sim back in the day. Like when I first played it, I kind of bounced off Dishonored. I was really psyched for it to start with, and then I bounced off of it. But I was like, but hang on a minute, this is no different than insert other game that I've played before. It's just we haven't played a game like this in like a decade.
Yeah. Well, Dishonored is basically modern Thief.
Yeah.
Realistically, it was of ex-Thief devs made it.
Yeah.
And and if you play it about magic, it plays like Thief. Because there is a run that you can do with no magic. I think it's on one. There's one bit you have to use magic. There's one bit you have to use blink to get through. You can't do it any other way.
Well, because they force you to use blink in the tutorial, at least, don't they? So.
If you discount the tutorial,
okay, so there's somewhere else in the game.
The tutorial takes place in a dream, so it doesn't count.
Oh, okay.
There's a bit I think because I watched a guy do it. He did a run with no. I think he was doing a no trace one where he's basically killing only his target, nobody else. But he got to be, he says, right, this bit I cannot figure. I have tried to do it, no magic. I cannot figure out a way to get around this without using blink. It's the only place I can find I can't get around without blink. So, yeah, and it's just fun. I love lots of little systems that are. Those systems work together and they'll generate interesting things.
Yeah.
So, So Gloomwood, real good fun. It's also at the moment it's obviously got a lot more to be added. It's one of those games that I've played now. I probably won't come back to it until it's nearly finished. I think. Sure. I'll probably wait and come back to it once I've got most of the content in there. There's like a level. There's like the next sort of level like that bit's adding in is there's like you go into there's a pub called the Sorted Goat, and at the moment there's like an upstairs bit where there's a beast you can fight. But that's currently not been built yet. So you go into the basement to sort of like bypass if you want, and the way upstairs is blocked off. There's like those you can't move, so you have no choice but to go past it. But that's probably getting added in, so there will be a way to get in there. And then obviously got to add the next stage of the story that we should come across.
Sure.
So,
okay.
But yeah, it's real neat. So yeah, real thumbs up for it. It's $15.49 at the moment. I got on Steam sale. I feel I got it about half price. If you like Thief, probably worth picking up. You want support, then yeah, it's probably worth picking up. Oh, sorry, it is Steam Deck compatible. Sorry, yeah, playable on Steam Deck.
Awesome.
I missed that bit first.
Is that the yellow, isn't it, or is that?
It's got this is where my card box is going to come. It says playable, and there's like an
exclamation mark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I assume means that it's not perfect, but you can play it.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the yellow one. Green, the tick is playable. Then you've got like the no smoking sign is like just fucking no go, and then you've got the other one is supposed to be like a yellow circly exclamation mark thing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you like Thief, you're gonna love this game. Give it a try. Cool. Right then, I suppose it's time for us to move on to our game of the year.
The big bit. Can I be cheeky and say that I don't have game of the year. I have games of the year.
Well, you always do this, so yes.
And I have some honourable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to roll in, man? Do you want to give people the rules, just in case people don't know the...
All right, so Game of the Year, it's a game that we've played for the first time this year. It's not, say, a game released this year. It's sort of our rule. It's our Game of the Year that we've played this year.
Yeah. And do you know what's really bad?
What?
Both of mine are this year.
Oh, there you go.
Because I looked down the list, and first off, that list is incomplete. Ram compiled.
Well, that list is based off podcasts.
Well, even that list is wrong because Spider-Man was last year's 24 hours.
That was discussed on... I tell you why that's happened. That's got to end up in there. It's because it got discussed on the January podcast.
Fair enough.
So I literally went to the podcast descriptions and took this copy of the game and the podcast description. Yeah, that's why it end up on there.
There's a fair bit missing, but I'm just gonna use the list that we got.
You can add more stuff into that list if you want to.
Well, realistically, so I looked at the list and I actually struggled. I was like, shit, I don't think any of these qualify. Like, I don't think I'm going to be able to pick anything. Because I don't remember many games I've played this year. Like, at all. I don't remember them. Have there been good ones? Yes. I just don't remember what the fuck they were, which isn't really a good start for a game for Game of the Year, right? Mm. But a few dinged in that I have played. Now, I want to go in first off with honourable mentions, okay? Ghost of Tsushima is a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 game based in Japan, the island of Tsushima. And you are supposed to basically liberate an island, almost Far Cry-esque, but instead of using guns, you're using, as in third person, and you're using a sword. And if you do anything against the code of the samurai, you're a ghost. Otherwise, you're a samurai. And depending on how you fight, people will react to you differently. Gorgeous, absolutely beautiful game, right? But it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and I didn't own it outright. I was playing it through that PlayStation subscription they have. And I was like, I don't want to keep paying for the subscription to play this game, and I'm not paying like 50 to however much it is to buy the game just for the PlayStation. So one day I might cheat and say that Ghost of Tsushima is my game of the year when it comes out on PC. So I can actually play it through, properly enjoy it, because I played a lot of it, I played it for a long time, but I didn't really get a huge amount through it. I don't think. But it instantly gets disqualified, really, because it's a fucking PlayStation exclusive, and I don't want to turn on the PlayStation. Other honorable mentions, anything free to play in 2022, anything you can currently download and play for free, regardless of microtransaction-y bullshit, regardless of whether or not it's got a premium subscription with it, right? If it's free to play, fuck, it's good. You're lucky. The level of stuff you can get for free in 2022 is amazing. Be it RPGs like Genshin Impact, Honkai Impact 3rd, MMOs like Tower of Fantasy, stuff like this. Was it New World, the one done by Amazon that was free? Amazon did one that was free, wasn't it? They had one that was paid and one that was free. Whatever the free one was, amazing. Valorant, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Dota. There are so many quality games out there that you don't have to pay for. Phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. You could literally buy a PC or a console and never have to pay for a game and still get hundreds of hours worth of entertainment out of free software. You know, I know some people who only play like Fortnite and League of Legends, you know. You don't have to pay to do anything in those. That's awesome. So, that's that group. Do you know outright what you want to pick, Ram?
Yes, I do know I want to pick.
Just the one?
If I had to pick one, yes, I've got one I'd pick.
Oh, he's narrowed it down.
I've got now 5.
Oh,
that are my shortlist.
Okay.
All for different reasons.
Okay.
There's one that's sort of like I've sort of like gone to myself, pick one, and I've picked the same one every time.
Okay. Okay.
So I have got one.
Well, I'll tell you what. So I've gone through some honourables.
All right, shall I do my honourables?
Yeah, go for it, man. Go.
And then we'll go back to you. You pick yours, and we'll go back to mine.
Sure.
Cool. So honourable mentions this year. I think I'd like to give an honourable mention to Amnesia Rebirth. Horror game, San Amnesia. I haven't played that style game for such a long time. It was great fun. It was one of those games that I was glad to finish it because I like horror games, but I am glad to finish them.
Yeah, I get
because
that.
they are quite sort of stressful. If it wasn't for the fact it was broken in the middle, this would probably be actually a contender, and that's Metro Exodus. If it wasn't for that middle Caspian level, which is really broken,
I had to stop. I've not gone back to it.
I got past it, and latter levels are a lot better. They sort of like it's just that level. There's something wrong with that level because the other layers don't have this problem as well. There must be a memory leak on that level. If it wasn't for that, it would probably be in the running. I think Vermintide 2, we had a great laugh on that. Same with Demeo, we had a great laugh on that, playing that online. Just because it was a bit different, a bit kooky. Not a game of the immaterial. Stray, just because it's a bit odd.
Yeah.
I like a bit strange, but it's not. It's out of the days. It's a fairly straightforward, simple platformer.
Yeah.
With some puzzle elements in it. So that's why I it doesn't quite make the grade, in my opinion. And probably Necromunda Hired Gun, because that was a nice sort of fast-paced shooter.
A change of pace for you.
It was very much a change of pace for me, yes. A very much change of pace for me. So they're probably some of my honourable mentions. That at least jump out at me anyway.
Sure. Well, because I'm now looking down the list of stuff here, and I mean, I feel like I'm being really cruel to some of these games, because like some people are going to really fucking rage, right? So there are a bucket of Hyperdimension Neptunia games on my list, because Hyperdimension Neptunia Reverse, a remake of Rebirth, came out on PlayStation 5, and I played that through, and Rebirth. I love those games, but I've spoken way too much about Neptunia. Metro, fun, too fucking buggy. Let's have a look. Stray, just no. By the time I got to the end of Stray, I almost wanted to just destroy it. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I've gone through that game twice now, and whilst I appreciate it more on the second time through, there are some points in that game it is still horribly padded. So I just as good as it is, as pretty as it is, I couldn't give it game of the year.
It's good job they put the padding, because Final Fantasy VII was such a short game. It's good to put all that padding.
The thing is, though, again with Final Fantasy VII Remake, the whole game was what, 30 to 50 hours long. Final Fantasy VII from the 90s.
Yeah.
Right, the whole game. Right, Midgar ends halfway through disc 1 of the original ish. Right, but in Final Fantasy VII Remake, they had to pad the Midgar section to around 30 to 50 hours. Just Midgar. Did it feel alive? Yeah. Were you doing a lot of busybody work, though? Oh my god, yes. And it terrifies me now what we're going to do later game, because obviously there's going to be extra parts to Final Fantasy VII Remake to cover the rest of it.
They've not released it all yet.
No. They've announced the next part. They've announced the next part. So the next, I don't know if they're doing it in quarters or thirds, but the next bit is due for release or it's coming soon. But I'm sat there thinking to myself, because they're claiming it might be open world. I'm like, what happens when we get to fucking Fort Condor that takes like 15 minutes? Is that going to become like a 4-hour segment?
Probably.
Or like fucking, Cosmo Canyon, couple hours. You know, that becomes an entire game or something. Like, no, there's... I like that they've built the world up a bit more, but there's a lot of padding. An awful lot of padding. And outside of Midgar and the original game was also very, 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 very thin. How are they going to pad this out for another couple games? But, I don't think they're going to finish the Final Fantasy VII Remake until probably... I don't know if they've actually got a release schedule out for it, but I don't feel it's going to be finished for another good few years. I think the next part will probably be next year, and then give it another 2, 3, 4 years, and you'll get the last fucking part of it. It's going to be a slog for Final Fantasy VII fans at this point. And the other honourable mention should really go to Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, because I love Monster Hunter games. I really, really, really love Monster Hunter games. But I didn't really get a huge amount of time to play Sunbreak. My group dawdled through regular Monster Hunter Rise, which is fucking fantastic. Absolutely amazing. But I'm not going to keep on picking games from series that I do like every other year. Oh, hey, there's a new Monster Hunter game of the year next year. Nailed it. First try. Yeah. So I figured I'd go something
There's going to
different.
be this... I just can't wait to the next Hyperdynamic Unit game called Hyperdynamic Unit, Skazz's Game of the Year.
No, mate, they've already announced it.
Is it called Skazz's Game of the Year?
It may as well be.
Yeah.
But no, look, I would love to give it to Monster Hunter Rise. Like,
cool.
I would love to. But no.
Okay.
Oh, so I've got 2 titles for Game of the Year. Do you want me to spit out one and then you?
No, do you both, and I'll go through my shortlist.
Cool. So this should not be... I'm outright saying it. Given that I've just said no to Monster Hunter Rise, and I'm going to say yes to this, I swear someone's going to kick down my door. If I get fucking double tapped at some point, then...
I'll know why.
Yeah. I am going to give my first to Zenith, The Last City, which is it's one of the better VR MMOs. And it got released beginning of this year by Ramen VR, and it was not finished on release. It was very thin, very copy pasty. Towards the end, it was so grindy, I started to rage when people were asking me about it on stream. I played through it as 2 separate character classes. Most of my friends barely got through about a third of it before they gave up, because it was an early access game that got released as a full title. On PC, it was early access, but if you bought it on the Oculus Store, be it on Oculus PC or Quest, or if you bought it on the PlayStation for PlayStation VR, that was a full release. But it was nowhere near ready to be considered a full release. Nowhere fucking near ready. And I don't even think it's ready now. I haven't actually played it in months, but it's not ready. However, the vision is there. A full world in VR is an amazing thing to do. MMOs are not easy to make.
No,
for a small
it's one
team,
of the hardest. MMO's like one of the hardest games you could decide to try and make.
For sure. And for such a small team, I think there's like, at the time when I first spoke of Zenith, there was like, 15, 20 people, tops. Yeah. What they have done with such a small team in a relatively new genre, like VR, fantastic. And when you look at it compared to other VR MMOs, Zenith is probably the best of the bunch. The fact that it is my most played game on Steam tells you that it has potential. I've got thousands of games on Steam, and Zenith shot straight up to the top. And I haven't played it in months, yet it is still sat there at the top. Most other games don't come close. The main issues I had with it were that the intro was very thin. You do a very Billy Bob basic character creation. You get tossed into this world with very little explanation as to what's going on. Because it was, again, somewhat early access, right? And then you'd go through this tutorial zone, get sent into the world, and it was kind of buggy. It was fun, but it was kind of buggy. Nothing was really explained. It was like a combo of maybe Guild Wars, Final Fantasy, some kind of like WoW level quest. Like a lot of different MMOs were mushed together for this game in a VR environment. By the time you got about a third of the way through, probably not even a third, there was a place called the Obsidian Fortress. And if anyone remembers my first chat about Zenith, I went fucking spare about the Obsidian Fortress. Because all of a sudden, quest giver characters, your quest givers, one of your quest giver NPCs, becomes a generic enemy. Oh. Bandits that you were fighting in the beginner area become a harder main enemy. Pathing in enemies was broken. Copy paste was all over it. In fact, in a zone or two's time after that, it is literally copy paste enemies from the beginning of the game. There was only one dungeon. Beginner items, like items you could grind at the very start of the game, could be used for item drops, for weapon exchanges and armor exchanges right towards the end of the game. Because they just copy and pasted the enemy model, buffed their stats a bit, and you had to just fight hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these little enemies again. It was just a grind. Story was fucking empty. It just fell apart. By the time you got to Obsidian Fortress, there was nothing left. They ran the fuck out. It became nothing but fetch quests and grinding and just like, what is going on? But again, it was a team of 15 people, 20 people or so. And the fact, I would imagine they needed to get the product out there to get more money to keep the studio going, right?
Yeah.
That's purely speculation. But they are still updating it quite regularly. New bosses, new content. I don't know if they're putting in new character classes yet, but they had announced a bunch. They really do want to make this game work. And again, because of the scope of the project and the fact that they're taking a stab at it in VR is reason enough for me to put it up here on probably the games you should take a crack at if you have VR. Should also mention it is cross-play. So if you're on the Oculus Store, whether you're on the Quest Store, the MetaQuest Store, so you're on standalone or PC, whether you're on Steam or whether you're on PlayStation, they all play on the same servers. So you could all just, my mate Divine could be on his PlayStation, I could be on my Quest, you could be on the PC, and bam, we're all in the same game. That's fantastic, and characters are account locked, not server locked. So if you started and you were playing on a different server to us, we could all just jump in anytime we wanted.
That's cool.
So that is one thing I will say I do very much like about VR, the fact that they have opened up cross-platform play, because they know that the audience is going to be small on every platform. Why release platform-specific servers if you can just mush everyone together? Because the code base is going to be largely the same, right? So, so Zenith, The Last City, it's a grind fest. It's not great. It's not perfect. This will probably be the worst game of the year recommendation you'll ever hear, but it has a lot of promise.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Was that just the only one you're going to pick this year? Because I thought you mentioned you're going to pick two.
Well, this one probably won't come as a surprise to anyone, but I know that our rule is generally games that we played for the first time this year, which should automatically disqualify this one anyway. However, they released a flat screen version of it. Okay, so you might know what we're going for here, Ram. It started out as a VR game, I believe, last year.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And then it got a flat screen, regular PC release, middle of 2022. And that goes to the multiplayer tabletop RPG Demeo, or Demeo. I cannot believe how much time I burnt in Demeo. In fact, if the timers were mushed together between my Quest play, my PC VR play, and my PC flat screen play, it would probably be up there rivaling Zenith for my top most played game on Steam. If it were possible to put those three figures together, it would definitely be up there. Demeo is, imagine Dungeons and Dragons. You know, you've got your mates all around a table in a basement, and you've got your little character models, and you get to move around the character models and fight various enemies on floors on a dungeon to find a key, to find a monster that has a key, to find an exit, to move down to the next floor until you get to the third floor and fight a boss. As you fight enemies, you gain points to unlock new cards, which are usually character specific. For characters, you have a tank, an assassin, a mage, the ranged archer, the bard, and I don't remember what the newer character is, but there's like 6 or so different character classes. You get specific cards that you can use every turn based on character class, and then the rest of them you can unlock or buy between rounds. And it is I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it, but it's fucking fantastic.
It's a fantastic strategy game. When you come up with an idea of a strat that works, it feels so rewarding. And likewise, when you fuck up a strat, or like you get that little, you think, okay, this will only work if we all get a crit, if we all get a hit. If one of us misses, we're fucked.
Yep.
The bosses are really smart. I mean, the video's not up yet, or it's being edited, but do you know how long we spent on our last game? Do you know how long we spent on the last floor?
I'm going to imagine a good hour or so.
Hour and 49 minutes.
Really? On the last boss?
Yep.
Wow.
Nearly 2 hours of our last stream was the final boss level.
That's insanity. We were, I mean, admittedly, we were playing quite conservatively, but wow, but it didn't feel that long.
It didn't, no, it didn't. When I got the footage, I thought it was going to be about 3 hours for the whole lot. When it was only 4 hours, I was like, bloody hell. And it all came through. And yeah, I chopped it all up. And like the first 2 levels were like 40 minutes each. And the last was an hour and 49 minutes.
And that tells you how magical this game is. If you're playing it in VR, let's put it this way. You could put your VR headset on, middle of the day, and the next time you lift up your headset, all of a sudden it's dark. You're stood in a dark room.
Yeah.
It's that fucking good. Time just disappears as you're playing this game because you just you're stood there, sat there, chatting with your mates.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with these cool strats, trying to navigate these dungeons. I mean, the game can very quickly flip what seems like a good run right on its ass. You open one door, and all of a sudden, your whole team is like, oh, crap, you're burning resources, you have to completely rework your strats. Certain enemies appear that didn't appear on the last run, and you're like, oh, no, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah, oh, no, not another one of those. But on the flip side of that, you can just seriously thinking, there's no way we're going to survive this, and yet somehow you pull out of the bag.
Yeah. all of a sudden you get that one lucky crit, or that one card you desperately need turns up, or I don't know, you manage to nail a bomb shot as everything just lines up or whatever. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's cross-play. Again, I've got to say this again. It's cross-play. Quest. I don't know if it's on PlayStation, PC desktop mode. The people keep asking me, is the VR version compatible with the desktop version? Yes, it's cross-play, the whole thing. If you've got a standalone Quest headset or a Pico headset, or you're playing on an Index in Steam, it doesn't matter if people are on Oculus or Meta or Pico or wherever, you can play on the same servers.
It's coming to PlayStation 5 and PSVR 2 in 2023.
Fantastic. People who like PlayStation VR get it. Flat out. If you don't get it, you're really selling yourself short on that one. That is a headset selling game, I think. Or if you want to play it in the desktop mode, then my guys play the desktop. The desktop version is surprisingly good. I actually broke my VR rule. I do not like VR games getting desktop ports. Don't like it at all.
But that's because usually they're done very badly.
Yeah, but oh my god, Demeos, beautiful, fantastically done. I will say, immersion is much, much, much better in VR, and the level of detail in VR is much, much, much better. But the interface in the desktop version, very, very, very workable, very workable. I just don't think it's quite as good as if you've got your headset on. But the idea that I can play it on my Steam Deck, like I can sit there with my Steam Deck, or my son can pop on his Oculus Quest, and we could be sat there like, you know, he's in VR, I'm on my Steam Deck, and we're both playing the same game with voice chat and all that. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
I can actually see it. It's such a well-rounded game. I can actually see them if they could even go as far as actually releasing a board game version. That's just the game.
Yes, that would be absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that would work. It would work straight out of the box, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. I mean, have you noticed how we tend to gravitate to board game style things on most stuff? Like when we played, oh god, what was the one that Bard really liked?
Armello?
Yeah, that's the one. Armello. I've got that installed on my iPad.
Yeah.
Like that would have made a great board game. Fantastic board game. Honestly, I think Armello would make a great VR game too. A great VR board game as well.
Yeah.
But oh man, just Demeo is fan-fucking-tastic. But not many bugs. I've not had many bugs in it either.
No, I've had a couple. I had a sound glitch in our last one where the sort of dun 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 noise it plays when all the enemies are moving kept playing.
Yeah, the battle music kept going. That's probably one of the worst ones we've had, and like maybe a disconnect. But then we managed to actually pick up straight away, and it saved where we were.
I would say the disconnect. I'd say that was my internet that went down, and that disconnect was very elegantly handled.
Oh god, yeah. Because it's got drop in, drop out.
Yeah, but it remembers. So I came back and I was exactly where I was. I had the same health, same gear. It wasn't like it reset anything. It wasn't like I lost cards or anything. It was beautifully handled, really beautifully handled.
Whereas most games would, like if the host dropped, everyone would get kicked. Zaber and I continued the game, no issues.
Yeah.
And it scales. It scales difficultly too. So if you drop out, the enemies lose health and they do less damage.
Yeah.
An absolutely brilliant game. Beautiful game. The team behind it should be fucking proud.
It should be. Greg's a very well thought out game.
Yeah. And I will continue to fucking play it as long as they release expansions. I've played the first expansion because I was playing it when they only had like the first like expansion or two. I've played that first expansion a shit ton. Absolutely brilliant. As I say, just because of how how it dynamically changes difficulty, and how it only takes you to open up one door and one enemy being there that you didn't expect, and your team is fucking done.
I always like the fact that the modules are still, even the sort of later on, the modules are still somewhat charging, because your characters, when you get experience points, you don't actually get, your characters don't upgrade. You just
cosmetic.
Get, like, it's all cosmetic. And going back and playing, because we accidentally played the first, we meant to play like the newest expansion, playing the first module again. I'm like, this is a tough level. This is really tough, these enemies and so forth. These must be a bit new. All of the enemies are now targeting stuff we didn't expect them to do. Turns out we're playing the first module again.
Yeah. It was that good. It was that I was just like, wait, hang on a minute. No way. As soon as we saw that end boss stage, I was like, dude, this is the first module again. No fucking way. We were getting our asses beat by the first module.
Yeah.
Like, that was insanity. Such a good game. Such a good game. I was so surprised when I played that game how good it was. And I was a bit hesitant to recommend it to people to start with, because I was like, a tabletop game? I don't know. Tabletop game in VR, are people really going to stick? Fucking Zaber plays it for a bit and he's like, oh wow, man, this is fucking great. I was like, yep.
Well, the majority of our games like this year has been Demeo.
There you go. And usually we get pretty bored pretty quickly of games.
We do.
I do think we need to somehow get my mate Divine in, though, because he loves Demeo, or he quite enjoyed Demeo, and it does have the option to have a 4-player split.
Yes. Something we can definitely do.
So, Demeo is definitely a game you should play at least if you have a PC. If you have a VR headset and you haven't played it yet, you're really missing out. Yeah. Really missing out.
I expect though, I feel a bit fair. It's definitely a game you play. If I feel you'd want to play with mates though.
They do have a lobby system though. I've played with a lot of randoms.
Yeah.
In the past, it's pretty good. It is better with friends, but because it has got built-in voice chat, it has got a nice lobby system in it. 'Cause I've not actually had to use that since I've been playing with you guys. Before people would just drop in, drop out from my live streams and stuff, but there is actually a gathering hall that you can go to meet up with other players to start a game. So you don't have to if you don't want to, but then because it is cross-platform, it's going to be a lot easier to get friends in.
Yeah,
I doubt people are going to struggle to find. I've got a VR headset, but my mates haven't got VR headsets, but they've got PCs or PlayStations. It's like, I'm pretty sure we've got mates that fit one of those other categories,
They should do. I don't know. I can't remember which. There was another game that was like a game that was like a multiplayer game that you like decided to play, and you had the option when you bought it, you could buy a version of it which is dearer, but had like extra keys. Yeah. You could hand it to your mates.
I don't know if actually Demeo has something like that right now. Because when I searched for Demeo earlier, it had a different... Hang on.
I mean, I've got the Steam store open. Let me have a look.
Demeo Together Collection. Oh, I said Demeo original soundtrack and PC edition. Okay, that's just a package of the different versions of the game. I weren't sure if they had a, hey, buy one, get 3 more keys kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which game it is, but I've definitely seen one where you can you buy the game, and you get like extra keys that you can hand out to people, or get gift copies you can gift out to people.
Yeah, like Divine Cybermancy and stuff had like stuff like that as well, didn't they?
Yeah,
you could buy it as a combo pack. Now, I think that's something that the Demeo team should do. So if someone wants to take a punt on buying multiple keys, and it is nice as well that your account data, I think, syncs up between platforms as well.
It didn't for me. Where between the VR version and non-VR version, it didn't. But I've not gone back to VR version to see if it has.
Oh, right.
But it definitely didn't for me.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So. Cool.
Well, there you go.
That's a very good choice. Good choice.
I'm giving mine to 2 random VR games this year.
Nope, and both I think good choice. I know you're a bit unsure about Zenith, but I think that's a very valid choice.
Cool. What's your groove, man?
So my shortlist. So all these games have got potential. They all scratch different itch, and they've all got a reason why they're on the list. So I'll work my way through them. So first on the list is Deathloop, which is a first-person shooter. You're on a. It's very similar to Palace Kingdom, where you're in this looping time frame set over a day, and the day repeats every time you die. The day repeats, and most people just don't. Every time it dies, most people don't remember what happened the previous day. You, however, have the ability to remember what's gone on previous days, so previous loops, which most people don't. There's one other character you can. Well, actually, technically two other characters you can. But all the other sort of characters, they'll relive the same day, so the game basically resets every 24 hours. And your goal is to try and break the loop to get out of it by killing the founders of the loop. But you've got to get them all killed in one day. And you have to work out, and basically through investigating leads and stuff, work out what order to kill them in, or do things, or sabotage things to break the loop and get them in certain places. Because there's I think there's 7 founders, but there's only 4 levels, and you can only visit each level once per day. So you have to get some of the other people in other places, so you can get them all in one day, because otherwise, by default, on a normal day, you can't do it. It's made by Dishonored devs. Very, very similar art style. It's actually set in the same universe as Dishonored.
Oh.
But in the far future. Because actually there's guns and equipment will actually have, gunsmiths of Dunwall on them.
Oh, neat.
It's a very neat. I like the storyline. I like the concept. I like this art style. I like the music. I still listen to the soundtrack occasionally. Really neat game. So that's one more contenders. Satisfactory. That's in there because that stretches my how to basically make something efficient and not wasteful. You basically on a planet, you have to refine. You basically mine minerals and ores and stuff, which you can then process into other bits, which you then metal piping and stuff, which you can then process again into more complicated things and gradually build motors and stuff, and then you have to send them up into a space elevator so that they can be took away and sold on. Basically, that's your goal. So your job is to basically build a factory floor that is ultra efficient and runs and produces what you need to do. And you have to you can adjust the timings of things and slow down, speed things up to get to the right thing. So you're only producing what you need and create little buffers and stuff. That really sort of working out. I mean, literally, I would sit there, a bit of paper, and actually work out timing stuff to work out what the most efficient factory would be, so I can make my stuff and get it running properly.
You got something going good there when Ram pulls out the old piece of paper.
Yes, indeed. Next is Timberborn, where you are again saying the far future of our planet, where you are basically managing. It's a city building game, but you're managing a colony of beavers. Is Inky still fiddling with her beavers?
She is still playing it, yeah.
Yeah.
She put a lot of time into that when she first got it.
Yeah, I thought it'd be right up her street. And yeah, you can build it, and you can build their sort of structures, and you have to control. You have little districts and stuff. And at some point you will create gulag. It's inevitable, unfortunately. And then, interestingly, games that I've played most recently. So Paradise Killer, because it's basically Disco Elysium again, which was my game of the year last year.
Was that really last year?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I get because you were surprised because I gave it to Disco Elysium, not Cyberpunk. So
that's terrifying.
Yeah. I like the storyline. It's a bit different, a bit strange. I like the environment, atmosphere, and I like the fact that it's sort of having to investigate and solve a mystery and then bring it to trial. It's a really neat concept and really great fun. And only for nostalgia reasons, Gloomwood, only because it's a thief-like. But that one, knocking them out, that one gets knocked out fairly quick because it's not a complete game yet.
Sure. Okay.
But out of all of those that was my short list. But the one that I keep going back to every single time, I think, right, which one I'm going to go, and I keep having the same answer, and that answer is Deathloop.
Wow.
I like the I like that. I like the systems. It's a game that I still think about. Like, even though I played that beginning of last year.
Yeah.
Not beginning of this year. Sorry, not last year. This year. But I still occasionally think about it. And I still play the music. It's not been erased out of memory. I still have fond memories of playing it. Becoming this ultra, equipping yourself up like this ultra definitely you can jump down all the buildings and stuff and play it almost like. I love being able to just like jump from building to building, and just like jumping on top of people and stabbing them through the head. It's great fun. Yeah. So, and it's got that sort of immersive sim to it. The fact that it's a repeat, the environment repeats every day means you can like sort of like go back. You can like every level changes over the course of the day, so you can experience each level at different times of the day and find out how they change, and different things will happen, and you can then know. It's an interesting concept. It's fairly well executed. It's fun. It's got fun mechanics in it, and you can absolutely be an absolute dick in it as well to people. Yeah,
can I just throw there? I have noticed that when given an option, when you're given like moral options, you do tend to often swing towards the "I'm a bit of a dick" kind of groove. Like,
I'm not fully evil, but I'm a bit of a dick.
this person has been nasty to me. Something bad's happening to them. Well, fuck them.
No persuade. In the game where you can hack the meat grinder that people stand on top of and open the trapdoor up, and you wait for your target to stand there and give his little thing, and you hack it and he falls straight into the meat grinder, that's fun. That's just amusing.
I'm fucking glad you haven't turned into a dictator.
No. I thought, Tim Bourne did bad things to me.
Nicktopia and the fucking gulags.
Yeah, I've come to the conclusion that I should never be put in charge of society because I just become an evil bastard. I don't know what happens, but at some point I go, it'd be so much easier if these people were just dead, and. That happens, unfortunately. It happened in Tropico, but Tropico's fine because you're meant to be like that, so it's okay. I mean, the guy that kept building his shack next to this sort of like tourist area, I had to eventually make him disappear.
I remember you talking about it. So fucking hell. So Ram, that's not how this works, mate.
It did in my world.
So look, these motherfuckers get made disappeared.
Look. There was empty housing available for him. Nice empty housing. He chose to live in a shack next to the place where he worked. I mean, come on. That's how the tourist industry. He had to go.
He had to go.
He had options. I gave him plenty of options to go somewhere else, but no, he had to go. Sorry, mate.
Doesn't help that you broke his legs like the day before, and he still didn't leave.
Yeah, and then of course there's City Skylines. We know about Nicktopia.
Good old Nicktopia.
1 to 7, and then of course Timberborn, which again drew out the dictator side of me again. It's like, oh, I'm going to send all these people up to this area, this district as mine metal for me. Oh, they've all starved to death.
Unfortunate.
Because I forgot to send them food. Oops.
Whoops. Oh well. They don't care anymore.
In my defence, the only thing stopping them coming getting food was a short walk. So that's kind of their fault.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
Yeah. It's not my fault they chose not to walk through the gate.
The guy stood on top of the gate with the assault rifles, though.
Yeah.
Dave guarding the place.
Yeah. It's the only beaver with an assault rifle. So, yeah. Yeah. I built that assault rifle especially for him. It's made of wood.
Just made of wood. Careful, mate, you'll get splinters.
Yeah. I'm about to say it's a splinter rifle, but that is actually a thing in Warhammer 40,000 splinter rifle. It doesn't actually fire literal splinters, but...
I'm surprised you're not playing Darktide and that didn't get Game of the Year.
I have heard Darktide is quite buggy at the moment.
Alright.
So I'm leaning that for a bit because I've heard that it's good, but it's people will say it's great fun, but it does crash quite a lot.
All right.
So I thought I'm going to leave that for a bit and let them to fix that first. We go back to that. But yeah, I'm sure I'll give it a few months to fix at least the major stuff, and then go back to it.
Sure.
Or go to it. I think sort of answer to that. But yeah, definitely. If I had to give one if I had to pick a second option, probably be Satisfactory.
Ah. So what we're saying is the soundtracks and the getting out the notebooks, they're definitely the tells for you.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, yep. That is. If I have to at some point sit down with a spread, and I'm not really in a notebook, but I just have a spreadsheet at one point running as well. If at some point I have to get a spreadsheet out, then yeah, you can be pretty sure that is the game to go to for me.
God damn.
So, well, there you go. Anything else to add before we close up our Christmas special?
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure earlier on in the year I said that Monster Hunter was going to be my game of the year. It's a great game. I've put in over 100 hours into it. But I can't keep giving Monster Hunters like game of the years and that. Or wanting to. Do you think we should maybe pick a genre? Like I was thinking like next year I'm tempted just to bundle into a bunch of immersive sims.
Okay.
Because they're not games that I've played in a long, long time.
Yeah, well, if you want to give it a go, by all means.
Is there anything you'd try?
What different? So, what?
Something a bit out of your comfort zone.
That'd be an MMO then.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
That would be what that is something that as a rule I have dabbled in occasionally, but as a rule don't go really near.
Interesting.
So,
Are there any out there that you'd be?
The last MMO I played was Guild Wars 2.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
That's several years ago. And before that would have been World of Warcraft.
Warcraft is not a good example of a. Just no.
Yeah. I'd have to actually do a bit of research, look see what was out there, try and decide what I'd want to play. I don't. Trouble is, the sort of things I like in games, I don't like in MMOs. So things I don't like grinding, for example, and MMOs tend to be about grinding. So if someone can find me an MMO where it's like minimal grinding to get through and get content and stuff, then I'd probably be interested in it. Also, it means having to deal with other people.
And I'd give you that. I mean, this was right. I'm not going to be playing immersive sims because they do things I like.
Yeah. If you're gonna go with your preferred thing and go into immersive sims, then I think the only thing is I can go to my unpreferred thing, which would be MMOs.
There you go.
Oh, we'll give that a go for next year then.
I think that's it, man. Really,
that is. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed joining us on our Christmas special. Hope you all have a fantastic Christmas, and we'll get very fat on turkey, and if anyone get a turkey this year, and pork and sausages, and all those other good healthy things like bacon, and other small sausages, and sausage meat, and gammons, and bacon,
pies with meat in it.
Pies with pork in them, and beef, and lamb, all that good stuff. I hope you all have a good time eating those. And we shall return, actually, when the world has aligned, and we shall be back on New Year's Eve on the 31st of December. In case you didn't know that when the New Year's Eve was, that's when it is, at 9:30. You can also join us on. We'll be resuming. There will be a Christmas special. Games like going up over Christmas, but we won't be live. That's all been pre-recorded because we have lives outside. Well, some of us have lives outside the podcast. But normal service will be resumed on the 3rd of January at 8:30 GMT, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/SuffixGram.
And I am twitch.tv/Skazzius, SK4ZZI0US.
So look out for our Christmas special games nights, which will be up on the channel. And we look forward to seeing you on New Year's Eve. So until then, see you later.
Take it easy, guys.